So I'm sitting in a bathtub. It's kind of cold, it's awkward, and what's going through my head right now is I'm always trying to learn and think, and I don't open up a math book and try to learn about that, but I will flip on the TV and watch the History Channel. I like to hear about like how America was started and see the history of why people have done things and why we do things. And I watch the Discovery Channel, even if it's about motorcycles. I want to know how they make motorcycles. So I'm always trying to think about things and how I can learn from it. And so I'm sitting in this bathtub, and it reminds me of a time when I was giving my son a bath a couple weeks ago. We're throwing the ball around in the bath, and he's playing with things, and I'm trying to wash his hair. And then I finally get out this book, and it's a bath book. It's supposed to be read in the bath, and the title is Water, Water Everywhere. And so I open this up, and I'm reading it to my son, and it says, water, water everywhere, water near and far. Let's use our hands and feet to count how many kinds there are. And I think my son was more interested in the pictures on the page and obviously really wasn't understanding what I was saying, but I was thinking, you know, water is everywhere. Water is everywhere. And I like to learn about that. And I was thinking, maybe there's something that we can learn. So for the next couple weeks, let's talk about water.
So what's the first thing you think about when someone says water? Maybe it's great vast oceans, or tiny tears, or soft clouds ripe with rain. All right, I got that from the book. And the whole rest of the book is filled with things about water and how you encounter it in your everyday life. Except for this is really every day. We're not going to vast oceans every day. We're in our lives. Think about all the different ways you use water. You'd be hard-pressed to get through a full day without coming in contact with it. I mean, I can't even cook dinner without it. Water is essential to our everyday lives, and you're going to keep coming into contact with it over and over again. The spaghetti would be disgusting without water. I mean, maybe Jay would eat it, but I certainly wouldn't. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to ask yourself, what do you think about it? As you start to look around your life, you'll realize that water's everywhere. In fact, water is so much a part of our everyday lives, we could write our own book about it.
So the crazy thing is that there's actually already a book that was written about water, in a way. It's I guess best known as the Holy Bible. It's really just a bunch of letters and people just writing about their life, what they've experienced. It's really just a history book. And so some of you, as soon as we bring the Bible into it and we tell you, God is like water, you're like, oh man, I saw this coming. I knew they were going to bring God into this, or we caught you off guard, and a thought comes in your brain, and maybe that thought that comes in your head is like this great vast ocean we were talking about earlier. And like this ocean, maybe we go to it every once in a while, we go to it on vacation, and we swim in it, and we get into it for a little bit, and maybe we explore it, we play around in it a while, we have some fun, and then we leave, and it's not part of our everyday lives. And it's funny because this book talks about how God is like water, and that it's in our everyday lives. In fact, there's a book in the Bible, it's called Psalms, and it's like in the middle of this thing, this history book. And in Psalms it says that God's like rain, and it's completely different than the ocean, and this idea that God is like out there and He's not involved in our everyday life, because rain brings life. Rain brings life, and it's involved in like every aspect of our life and like how this world operates, and like rain like brings life to plants and trees and the things that are surrounding us. I mean, we could talk about how it brings groundwater and how we drink that and we take that in and it brings life to us. And it says God's like that. God isn't this thing that's just out there that's not part of our lives that we just dip into every once in a while and we explore and have some fun and then back out. It says God's like in everyday life. He's in everyday life. and we think, you know what, we got to explore this. And so for the next couple of weeks, we're going to see if God is really involved in our everyday lives using this idea of water.
So some of you might have questions right now. Is God really all around me like rain? Is He there with me when I wake up in the morning or when I bomb that test at school? Over the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at all different kinds of water and seeing where God shows up. By the end of our time together, you won't be able to look at water without thinking about God.